What does create continuums? Self-consciousness forms do create continuums. Where did self-consciousness forms originate from? They originate from the different qualitativeness of informational fragments combinations. The types of birvulярность that formed rhizomerals, and rhizomerals are the structure of the universe, the focus's foundation. So, the types of birvulярность brought to formation of self-consciousness forms. Meaning, on the basis of every rhizomeral structure, the definite resonational combinations were formed. Resonational combinations relatively to the conditions of the current manifestation in this rhizomeral. Thus, protoforms were formed. Protoforms were formed on different dimension levels. What are protoforms? Protoforms are the diversified types of self-consciousness, but not the self-consciousness forms themselves, because a self-consciousness form is diversified by itself. Protoforms are also representatives of different types of collective intelligences. Therefore, on the basis of each of these rhizomeral structures, different types of collective intelligences were formed. You won't understand what a rhizomeral is until you deeply grasp that informational fragments were combining with each other in varied degrees of compatibility and incompatibility, кавалертность and imperceptность. The degree of compatibility between one type of information and the other type of information may differ. For example, one kind of fragments reflect increasingly such features as hardness, the other viscosity, the third liquidity, the fifth airiness, the sixth coldness, the seventh warmth. These features or properties may not immediately interact with each other. For instance, there are features of coldness and features of warmth. They can start interacting instantly, but only with the assistance of the 10, the 100, the billion, and so on interrelations. Only on this intermediate basis, by forming some structure under certain conditions, they could gradually interact with each other. Or, for example, hardness and liquidity. These features that are informational fragments, so they can't merge together and make some form at once. Hardness and liquidity are incompatible. As a consequence, hardness must join any other part, for example of viscosity, then make some more compatible Cavalier forms with viscosity. And then it will turn to one type of collective intelligence. As much as new features will be added to collective intelligence during its focus dynamics, let's say it will be a warmth feature. The second type of collective intelligence will be formed. Coldness may add then. Though the feature of coldness is unable to be added because it would turn to the destruction of the created form. Therefore, to launch the interaction with the coldness feature, it is required to get in touch with some other features that will allow this form to adapt to the coldness feature, to cope with it, and to get balanced with it. What makes it balanced inside? It is another issue. So, by the principle of greater compatibility, the types of collective intelligences were formed. They are structured on the basis of residual structures, because exactly residuals have compatible features. And on the basis of these types of collective intelligences, self-consciousness forms were formed inside each type of collective intelligence. There is the human type of collective intelligence, whose self-consciousness forms are humans. There are other representatives of these collective intelligences that exist in other parts of the universe. Let's take simply the humans of the Earth. They are so different and diverse. This diversity comes at the expense of what? The diversity comes from an energy informational property of the universe, which is called diffusgentность. But this is the property not only of energy information, but of resumerals too. To proceed to a more perfect state, it is required to attract something that is able to compensate by itself the further interaction with some less compatible feature of information. And it creates the moments when other informational directions do squeeze into the collective intelligences. And an informational direction is a realization direction. And as a result, it turns out that every type of collective intelligence is structured with a multitude of other diverse collective intelligences, but which are expressed to a lesser extent than the present type of collective intelligence. Meaning, they penetrate through the level of focus dynamics of self-consciousness and realize themselves in directions inherent to them. By that means, the accumulation of interrelations occurs as well as the increase of amount of informational fragments within the configuration of the present self-consciousness form. And step by step, the person changes, and refocuses to the forms that significantly differ from the primary forms.